Hi, new students. My name is Jean Wilwell. I am the Director of Housing at Longwood University. I wanted to put together this tutorial for the students on filling out the housing application. The housing application is very simple and there's on-screen instructions. But since this is the first time you as students are doing this, I wanted to put this together so it'll answer most of the questions that you might have when filling out your housing application. And then if you have any other additional questions, you can contact our office at any time and we would be glad to assist you. The URL you see there on the screen, that is the link to the Student Housing Gateway. That was also in the email you received regarding the housing application. You can also find this link on the Lancer dashboard as well as on the Residential and Commuter Life website. So just to start off, once you log into the Student Housing Gateway with your Lancer NetID and password, one thing that's really important is when you get your initial Lancer NetID and your temporary password from the IT office sent to you, you want to make sure that you change that to your permanent password before you try to log into the Student Housing Gateway. You won't be able to log in with your temporary password. You have to change it to your permanent one first. So once you log in, you're going to see your name at the top of the screen and something called the RMS ID. Each student has their own RMS ID number in the Student Housing Gateway. And this number is important if you are going to be a student that's going to request a specific student as your roommate. And I'll explain what you'll use that number for in a little bit. But this is where you would find that number. So I just wanted to point that out. On the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see a few options there for new students underneath the new student application area. The first one is we do have virtual tours of our residence halls and our apartments. So if you are interested in seeing what these rooms look like before you preference which buildings you would like to live in, that is a great resource to use. So you can go ahead and click on that button and you'll be able to view those tours. The next button down is the actual housing application that you will click on once you're ready to submit your housing application. Below that, we have information on the different residence halls and apartments. And then we also have information about the different meal plans that are offered to students. So if you want to be able to take a look and see what the different meal plans are, your options and costs, you'll be able to take a look at that there. Also on the button for the community information, you can also on that screen, it'll show you what the housing costs are for the different residence halls and apartment communities. So those are great resources to take a look at before you go ahead and submit your housing application. Once you're ready to submit your housing application, just go ahead and click on the housing application button. And it will bring up the housing application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each section of the housing application and just walk you through it. And so that should answer most of the questions that you might have. The first thing that you're going to do on your housing application is you're going to let us know which buildings you prefer to be assigned to. Each year we are able to assign most students to one of their top two preferences that they've asked for. Obviously, sometimes there are a few students that we're not able to get you in your top two preferences. We might need to go to your third. But most students will get placed in one of their top two preferences. So what you're going to do is we require that you submit at least 3 preferences, and you can submit up to 6 if you'd like. So what you're going to do is click on that green plus button underneath the room preferences title there. So once you do that, it's going to bring a drop down, and what you will do is just use the drop downs. The preference type, the only thing in the drop down will be the word buildings. You'll just select that. And then after that, there'll be a drop down of all of our different residence halls that you can choose from. If you're a transfer student, there will also be apartment communities listed there as well, because transfer students as upperclassmen students can either live in the residence halls or in the apartment communities. So you'll go ahead and select your building. Once you've selected it, you will go ahead and click on that green select check button there you see on the lower right hand. What that will do, it will add the building to your list, and then you will do the same thing. You'll click on the green plus to add your second building and then your third building. And then you'll see the buildings listed there for you, so you'll see what order that you put them in. So on this application, this individual is preferencing Johns Hall as their first choice, Register Hall as the second choice, and Sharp Hall as the third choice. Okay. The next section on the housing application is regarding any students that want to preference a female-only floor. So within our residence halls, all of our residence halls are suite style. So the typical setup is 2 double rooms that share a bathroom within the suite. So it's a semi-private bathroom. Within those floors, for example, we could have 10 suites of all females, and we could have 5 male suites on a floor. We do reserve a couple floors for all female living if there's any students that want to be on a floor where all of the suites are female. So if you would like to do that, you can check that box there, and we'll make sure that you get assigned to one of those floors. Those floors, there's a couple floors available in Moss and Johns Hall. There are also co-ed floors available in Moss and Johns Hall as well. But if you prefer to be on a female-only floor, just go ahead and check that box, and then we will ensure that you are assigned to a female-only floor. The next part of the housing application is regarding if you have a preference at all for a single room. So the typical setup within our rooms is that the majority of the rooms are double rooms, but we also have enough single rooms set aside that if there are students that would prefer to be in a single room without a roommate, we can accommodate most of those requests. So the single rooms will still be part of a suite. The difference is you wouldn't have a roommate living in the bedroom with you, but you would have somebody else living in the other room in the suite. So you would still share the bathroom with another student. There is a cost difference between the double and single rooms. The single rooms do cost more than a double room. So if you're interested in the single room option, I would encourage you to take a look at those housing rates while you're making that decision. But if you prefer a single room accommodation, you can go ahead and check that box. And then if you check that box, we're just asking you to indicate how strong your preference is for that single room. Okay, and so then you would go ahead and check one of those boxes below. Down below, we have a box there. If there's any additional information that you want to let us know, either about your building preferences or your preferences for a female floor or your single room preferences, you can go ahead and add that comment there. Just if there's any additional information about where you're hoping to be assigned that you want to communicate with us, you can go ahead and put that information in that notes box below. The next part of the housing application is regarding roommate requests. So as a student, in regards to roommates, so you have two options. If you know of a specific student that you want to live with that's coming to Longwood as well, you can create a roommate group and you can request that specific student. The other option is if you would like us to pair you with another student who is looking for a roommate as well, you'll have the option to do roommate matching preferences, which I'll talk about in a couple of seconds here. So as a student, if you have a specific roommate request, there's two options here. One is if you get to the screen and you see the green create group button, that means that either you or your roommate that you want to live with, neither one of you has requested each other yet. So you'll go ahead and click on that green create group button, and that's going to bring down an option to invite a student to your roommate group. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on that green invite button, and this is where you're going to use that RMS ID number that I talked about on the welcome screen of the Student Housing Gateway, that each student has this specific number in our computer system. So what you're going to want to do is ask your friend that you want to room with to give you their RMS ID number, so that way you can add them to the roommate group. So you will then type in that number in the box, and you will click on the search icon, those little binoculars below, to search for that specific student to add to your roommate group. So what will happen here is that It will then bring up this message. A number of students still need to indicate whether their name is going to be viewable to other students in the Housing Gateway. So a lot of times you're going to get this message that they haven't given permission for their name to be displayed. That's okay. Once you hit the select button, it will populate their name for you. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and that will bring up the student's name. Now you'll see that next to their name, their status in the group is invited, okay? So what's going to happen is when your friend goes in to do their housing application, when they get to the roommate group screen, they're going to see that they've already been invited to the roommate group. So they don't have to create a roommate group. The only thing that they're going to need to do is there'll be an option on their screen to accept or reject membership in the group. So if they want to live with you, they will just need to click the accept button on their housing application, and then we will assign you together as roommates. If for any reason they don't want to room with you, they can reject that invitation as well, and then you guys wouldn't be a full roommate group. But obviously most students are going to accept that invitation, and then we would pair you together as roommates. So it's just really important that if you've been invited to a roommate group, that on your housing application you accept membership, because we can only assign students together if they've accepted the membership. I can't assume that you want to live with the student if you haven't accepted that membership. So when you see that invitation on your housing application, please go ahead and accept that membership so we can make sure that you two get assigned together. So that was all you need to do if you're requesting a specific roommate. If you're a student that you know specific students that you want to live in the suite with you, I will be covering that in a few moments to explain to you how you make that request on this form. This area here is just for your roommate request. So I mentioned before, the other option is if you would like us to pair you with a roommate, we can absolutely do that. There's a number of students that elect to do that as well. We have roommate matching questions where you will answer yes, no, or no preference. No preference simply means that you don't have a strong feeling either way, okay? These questions are geared toward how you would share the living space with another student. And so that way we can try and pair you with somebody who maybe has the same type of sleep schedule as you. If you're somebody who likes to keep the room neat, we pair you up with somebody who likes to keep the room neat, things like that. So those will be the roommate matching questions you would do, and then we will match you up with another student who had similar answers on their roommate matching preferences, okay? So once you finish this part of the form, there are 3 steps to the form. So you're going to want to click on the next step to continue with completing your housing application. On this next screen, we have to get your permission for your name to be viewable in the Student Housing Gateway to your roommate or your suite mates. So what this means is that when housing assignments are sent out in July, if you want your roommate or suite mates to be able to log into the Student Housing Gateway and see that you are assigned with them so that you all can communicate with one another over the summer, you're going to want to make that viewable, and you will use the drop down there to change it from don't show to show. So the 2 things you have options is show your roommates your name and show them your email address. The email address that will be shown to them is your Longwood email address, your @Live account. So if you would like them to be able to see your name, go ahead and put that as show. If you'd like them to be able to see your email address, you can put that as show. If you want them to see your name but you don't want them to have your email address, you can say do not show for email address, and you can still say show for your name, okay? So that's just something you'll want to do, so that way if you do want to be able to communicate with your roommate over the summer, that you will be able to do that. The next section of the housing application is in regards to your cell phone. So it's important for the Residential and Commuter Life Office to have that information, one, because if we have questions about information that you've put on your housing application, we want to make sure that we have everything correct for you and we understand what you're asking for. So if we needed to do any additional contact with you, we were just asking for that phone number so we can do that. It is also helpful during the academic year if there were ever to be an urgent situation where we would need to get in touch with you more quickly. having that phone number enables us to be able to communicate with you. During the academic year, the default method to communicate with you is going to be with your Longwood email account. We would only use cell phone information if we needed to get in touch with you more quickly, okay? So go ahead and put in your contact information for your cell phone. And then there's still another page to this application, so you're going to go ahead and click on the Next Step button. I mentioned earlier that if there are any students that know of want to live with specific suite mates, there is a way to request that in the Student Housing Gateway. So as I mentioned earlier, your roommate is the student that's going to live in the bedroom with you, okay, in the double room. Suite mates are individuals that are going to share the bathroom with you. They're going to live in the other room in the suite, and you all would share the bathroom. So if you have found other students that you want to be suite mates with, this is where you're going to request that. So the one thing with this, just to make sure you understand, when you're creating a suite mate group, what you want to do is invite your roommate and the other students that are living in the other room that you want to be part of your suite. So for example, if you and your roommate have 2 other students that you want to be suited with, you're going to create your roommate group, and you're going to have 4 students in your group. You, your roommate, and the 2 other students living on the other side of the suite, okay? So the process for doing this is exactly the same as when you requested roommates. You're going to create the group, and you'll use that RMS ID number to invite the members of the group. And then those students on their housing application can accept membership in the group. So that'll be done the same exact way as when you requested roommates. The only difference is you'll be adding the suite mates to the group. Okay, so that's how you would do that. If you're a student and you don't have suite mates you're specifically requesting, that is completely fine. More students don't than do. You can just go to the bottom of the screen and click on the Next Step button to move on with your housing application. For those students who did have a suite mate request, once you do your suite mate request, then you're going to click on Next Step to finish the remaining portion of your housing application, which is going to be to select your meal plan. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click on Next Step, and you're going to get a confirmation message that your housing preferences have been submitted, and that on July 8th, you will get an email from the Residential and Commuter Life Office, and it will be sent to your Longwood email account with your housing assignment and move-in information. Okay, so you'll be looking for that around July 8th. But you're not finished your housing application yet. The last thing you need to do is to select your meal plan for next year. Okay, all students are going to be required to have a meal plan. So if you don't select a meal plan, you will be assigned a default meal plan. So you definitely want to select your meal plan. But also know that you have until through the first 2 weeks of classes to change your meal plan. So with what you select today as your meal plan, you can always change that later on, and you'll get information on how to change your meal plan when you get your housing assignment. So what you're going to do is click on that meal plan selection button, and that is going to bring you to the Lancer Card and Campus Services website, who manages our meal plans. So you're going to see that there's that red box over to the left around student and staff login. That's what you're going to click on to log in to be able to select your meal plan. So you're going to log in yet again with your Lancer NetID and password. Once you have typed that in, you will click on the login button. Once you are logged in, over on the left-hand side of the screen, there is a section that says Manage or Purchase Meal Plan. You're going to go ahead and click on that to begin the process of selecting your meal plan. Next on the screen, you're going to see a few options there, but what the option that you want to select is that one that the red circle is around, Student for Fall 2021. So you're going to go ahead and click on that. And then your option is going to be to add a meal plan because you haven't signed up for one yet. So you're going to go ahead and click on the Add button. Once you click on the Add button, the meal plans that will be available to you will show up on this screen. Okay, so For all of our students living in the residence halls, all of our new freshmen, there are 3 options for meal plans for the fall. They're all the all-access plans. The all-access plan allows you to swipe into the dining hall as many times a week as you want to, so there's no limit. It comes with meal exchange that you can use in other locations on campus. And it also comes with bonus dollars, which you can use to eat at the other locations on campus as well, outside of the dining hall. So you're going to choose between the all-access 350 bonus dollars, the all-access 200 bonus dollars, or the all-access 50 bonus dollars, okay? If you're a transfer student who is interested in a Longwood Managed Apartment, please know that initially you will only be able to sign up for the all-access plans. If you are assigned to an apartment, then the additional block meal plans will be made available to you. So once you've selected your meal plan by clicking on the little circle next to the meal plan, you will then go to the bottom of the screen and you will click on the Continue button. This will then bring you to this screen. Make sure that you click on the Confirm button to actually select the meal plan, okay? What you're seeing on the screen is just a confirmation for you that that's what you're going to sign up for. If you feel like you picked the wrong one, you can always hit the back button and go back to the previous screen and select a different meal plan. But what you're going to do here is you're just going to click on the Confirm button. Those charges that you're seeing for those meal plans, that will just go on your fall tuition bill, just like your classes, your housing, all of that. So it's not something that you're paying for right now. It's just a summary page for you right now to see what the cost of that meal plan was and what you've signed up for, okay? So once you click the Confirm button, then you will have signed up for your meal plan for next year. You will get this plan acknowledgement screen. If you want to print it out, you can. That's totally fine. You could also log in later on and you can see what meal plan you've signed up for, but you have that option to be able to do that. So at this point, once you get to the meal plan acknowledgement screen, you have signed up for your meal plan, so you've taken care of that. If you have any additional questions about this tutorial, feel free to give our office a call. Our phone number is 434-395-2080, or you can email housing@longwood.edu. We'll be glad to answer any questions you have, whether it's about the housing application or just housing in general or campus life. Feel free to reach out to us. We're always here to help, and we definitely look forward to welcoming you to campus in the fall, and are excited for you all to get your housing assignments in the near future. So thank you very much, and we will see you in August.